The ocean is full of mysterious and dangerous things we can't see, like underwater volcanoes and shipwrecks, but it's also full of things we can that will try to kill us. From sharks with multiple rows of razor-sharp teeth to blue creatures with enough venom to kill hundreds of humans in mere minutes. Welcome back, I'm here. And today we're counting down the top 10 most dangerous creatures in the ocean. You don't want to swim in the water after this. Number 10. Box jellyfish. Box jellyfish are found in both fresh and salt water around the world. They're called box jellyfish because their bell shape is more cube-like than other jellyfish. They can be anywhere from the size of a small dinner plate to almost 3 feet wide. Inside their bodies, they have up to 60 stinging cells per square inch. When one of these cells fires, it delivers a venomous sting that can bring on excruciating pain, paralysis, cardiac arrest, and even death. The box jellyfish has been rated the most venomous creature on the planet by Discovery Channel, beating out not only the blue-ringed octopus but also the infamous funnel web spider. And even though there's no recorded deaths caused by box jellyfish stings, it's only because people who've been stung were brought to hospitals in time. In Australia, where they're known as sea wasps, there were about 1,000 unprovoked stings each year between 2006 and 2010, and one of them was fatal. A woman named Lisa Parker was swimming off the coast of Bundaberg in Queensland when she was stung on the chest by what her husband described as a small cube-shaped jellyfish. She made it back to shore, but soon collapsed and went into cardiac arrest. There was nothing doctors could do. Number 9. Blue-ringed octopus. As far as deadly marine creatures go, the blue-ringed octopus is pretty small. They're only about the size of a dollar coin, which makes it even more dangerous. Because they're so tiny, they can easily sneak up on you, or worse, crawl onto your arm or leg and wrap themselves around your hand or foot. If this happens, they'll bite you and inject a venom that can paralyze you and stop you from breathing. It takes only 2 minutes for the pain to start kicking in, and within 5 minutes you'll be unable to move. Their venom contains tetrodotoxin, which is a nerve poison that blocks sodium channels in nerve cells. This causes paralysis that spreads throughout your entire body, starting with your face, then moving down to your arms and legs before finally attacking your diaphragm, which is the muscle responsible for breathing. In some cases, this can cause death within 30 minutes, but in others, it can last for hours. In Australia alone, there are about 3 blue-ringed octopus stings every year, and one of them was fatal. That was in 1978, when a 21-year-old surfer paddled in after being bitten by an octopus on the hand. He tried to spit it out, but couldn't because the pain was too much. Then he started to have trouble breathing and his whole body became paralyzed. By the time help arrived, it was too late. Number 8. Stonefish. This is another creature that likes to hide. Stonefish are masters at blending in with the rocks and coral reefs. They have special fins that allow them to camouflage themselves, and they lay completely flat on the seabed until something comes along to eat. Then they strike with lightning speed, darting out to catch their prey. But if you step on one of these with bare feet while snorkeling or scuba diving, their spines will puncture your skin and release a venom into your bloodstream. Within seconds, the area around the wound will become numb, so you won't feel anything at first. Then the pain will set in and you'll need up to 12 anti-venom injections. If you don't get medical attention in time, the pain will just keep getting worse until it becomes unbearable and you die. Stonefish are actually considered the most dangerous fish in the world. Every year, around 50 people die from their stings in Australia alone, which is why divers there are trained how to safely remove their spines with tweezers. That way, the wound will heal and you won't die. Number 7. Great barracuda. Don't let its name fool you. The great barracuda looks kind of cute with its shiny silver scales and pink mouth, but this little guy can be very aggressive. It feeds on schools of smaller fish and its favorite food is actually baby sharks. So if it sees you in the water, it might just mistake you for a tasty snack. Also, the great barracuda is one of the fastest fish in the ocean. It can reach speeds of up to 25 miles per hour, and it can grow up to 6 feet long with the biggest ones weighing over 60 pounds. When the water temperature is warm, they tend to be more active and more aggressive. So if you're at a beach during a heat wave, stay away from the water. The good news is that barracudas rarely attack humans unless they're provoked. There have only been 24 documented attacks since 1837, most of which happened after fishermen kept them as live bait. Number 6. Irukandji jellyfish. This one looks like your typical jellyfish, but it's got a nasty trick up its sleeve, or rather, tentacle. The irukandji is a type of box jellyfish that can be found in Australia, India, Japan, the Philippines, and other countries around the Pacific Ocean. They can be as small as a pea or as big as a soccer ball, and once they get hold of you, they inject a venom that causes a rare disease called irukandji syndrome. Symptoms include vomiting, a high fever, delirium, and severe pain. This can eventually lead to respiratory failure and death. Unlike other box jellyfish stings, Irukandji stings aren't immediately fatal. It can take up to 2 weeks before symptoms start to appear, and up to 6 months before they go away. During that time, you'll be in constant agony and barely able to function. At least 30 deaths have been attributed to the Irukandji jellyfish. The first recorded case was in 1964 when a fisherman died of heart failure after being stung on the leg by what was later identified as an Irukandji. Number 5. Saltwater crocodile. People sometimes get freaked out by alligators and crocodiles that live in lakes and rivers. But the saltwater crocodile is the ultimate nightmare fuel. Not only does it live in the ocean, but it can also grow up to a whopping 23 feet long and weigh over 1 ton. They can be found in brackish waters, meaning they can survive in both salt and fresh water. And their preferred habitat is mangroves and swamps, which are scary enough on land. But throw a giant manatee reptile into the mix and it becomes a nightmare. In Australia, they're called salties, and they're responsible for 100 attacks every year, including 30 that are fatal. One of the worst incidents happened in Indonesia in 2009, when a saltwater crocodile attacked a boat filled with tourists. It capsized the boat, then dragged 4 people underwater and ate them. The worst part is that saltwater crocodiles are ambush predators, meaning they like to sneak up on their prey and scare them before eating them. This means if one of these guys is lurking in the water, you probably won't see it coming until it's too late. Number 4. Portuguese man-o'-war. Despite what its name suggests, the Portuguese man-o'-war isn't technically a jellyfish. It's actually a colony of organisms that work together and share resources. These organisms are called zooids, and they come in for different varieties. The gastrozooids, which are responsible for eating, the dactylozooids, which use their stinging cells for defense, the gonozooids, which reproduce, and the bracts, which are floaters that keep the colony upright in the water. All the zooids are connected by a structure called the cenosarc, which runs along the underside of the floaters. So if you accidentally swim into a Portuguese man-o'-war, all of those stinging cells will fire at once, injecting a venom that causes excruciating pain, burning sensations, welts, nausea, vomiting, muscle weakness, difficulty breathing, shock, and even death. It's no wonder that people who've been stung compare it to being stabbed with part by a barbed wire brush dipped in sulfuric acid. Portuguese man-o'-war can be found in oceans all over the world, but they're most common in the waters of Bermuda and the Caribbean Sea. Number 3. These guys are so scary, they've even inspired an episode of Friends. Just imagine being at the beach, enjoying the sun and the waves, when suddenly you feel a sharp pain in your leg. You look down and see a snake with fangs as long as knives. Well, if you find yourself in the waters surrounding the Indonesian island of Wai, that nightmare can become a reality. That's because this is where the yellow-bellied sea snake lives, and it's one of many species of sea snakes that pose a threat to humans. Sea snakes are highly venomous, and they're often found in shallow coastal waters, which means they're close enough to bite you if you accidentally step on them. Most sea snakes are very shy and won't approach you on purpose, but that doesn't mean they won't bite you if you make sudden movements or try to pick them up. Once bitten, you'll need up to 12 anti-venom injections, and if you don't get them in time, you could die. Number 2. Lionfish. Lionfish are beautiful creatures with flowing red and white stripes, but they're very dangerous to humans. Not only are they venomous, they're also voracious predators that feed on almost anything they come across. This includes other fish, crustaceans, mollusks, worms, and even seagrass. Unfortunately, lionfish have no natural enemies in most parts of the world, which means they can multiply out of control and cause major damage to local ecosystems. Between 2000 and 2009, they spread to the Atlantic Ocean, probably after being released from a pet store. Now, they're a serious problem for native species in the Caribbean, the Gulf of Mexico, and along the southeastern United States. Lionfish have been known to sting humans before, but they usually only do it when they're harassed. They're not aggressive, but they do defend themselves. And if you're stung by their sharp spines, the venom will cause pain, swelling, cramps, and even paralysis. That's why it's important to wear protective footwear when you're wading in shallow water. Number 1. Great white shark. With rows upon rows of razor-sharp teeth. The great white shark is one of the ocean's deadliest predators. These guys are responsible for 50% of all shark attacks on humans, and their bites are almost always fatal, even though they're mostly found in cooler waters, such as those around the coasts of South Africa and Australia. They've been spotted as far north as the Galapagos Islands and as south as Antarctica. That's why it's important to be careful whenever you're in the ocean. You never know what's lurking beneath the surface. Great whites are attracted to blood, so if you're bleeding for any reason, don't go near the water. Also, if you're in the water and a seal or sea lion starts screaming and thrashing around, get out of there fast. That's because seals and sea lions are the favorite food of great white sharks, and if one of them gets cornered, it'll put up quite the fight. So that concludes our list of the top 10 most dangerous creatures in the ocean. But we want to hear from you. Which of these creatures would you be most scared to encounter? Let us know in the comments below. And as always, thanks so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe so you're the first to know when we drop our next video.